Hey, Twitch, how we doing today? I'm James, back at you again with another episode of Howdy Partner. And with me today is one of my new co-hosts, Neha. I should go this way. Neha, how are you doing today?
Hey James, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Austin, Texas, but the weather here is very much similar to Seattle since a couple of days now.
Oh, really? Overcast
Yeah,
and rainy? That's cool.
yeah.
Today is actually we have a little it's a little bit different special episode of Howdy Partner. Well, first of all, what is Howdy Partner? Howdy Partner is a Twitch show that we run every week. We bring on our partners, they show us what they've built. They show us how they're going to make our lives easier. We dig deeper beyond the diagrams, beyond the white papers. We get to see stuff in action, and that's why I love it because it gives me some context to all these workload validations we do. Nia, you know all about those FTRs and such, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And so today we're going to have senior PSA Rahul Kochhar joining us to talk about the APN. And then following, we're going to have KnackForge. They're going to show us how CloudCost is going to save our lives when it comes to our cloud workloads. Uh, I've heard I've heard that CloudCost, one of the underlying services it uses is Trusted Advisor. I don't know anything about Trusted Advisor. Nia, do you? Like, I can pull it up right now, but if you could help
Sure.
fill me in.
Yeah, I can give you an overview. So, AWS Trusted Advisor basically inspects your AWS infrastructure and gives you recommendations based on AWS best practices and helps you optimize cost, improve performance, and close any security gaps you have in your infrastructure. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that's very helpful because if your loads get super big, like it's hard. You can't keep track of that all. I mean,
exactly.
but first, yeah, let's go ahead and bring on Rahul. Rahul, you ready for us? Let's bring you on here.
Yeah.
There he
Hey,
is.
hey, James. Hey,
Hey,
Neha. How are
Rahul.
you?
Great,
Doing
great,
good.
great. How you doing?
Doing very well, sir. Thank you very much. I'm dialing in from very sunny Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Nice.
we have a coworker from there, Shardul. Um, if you've met him before.
I have not.
No, that that that's the end of that conversation. Rahul, do you want to go ahead and share your presentation again?
Sure. Yeah. Let me try doing that.
And then yeah, and then maybe so Rahul's gonna a lot of questions always come up. James, why should I join the APN? Why? What does it look like? What do I get out of it? And then in my
Sure.
turn, I go, let me bring an expert I can answer some good questions, some of that, but let's
Mm,
dive a little bit deeper. Let's go ahead and pop that up here.
yeah.
There we go. Awesome.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, we can talk about what is the program. So by the way, that's what we're going to talk about. What is the program? What are the benefits? How does a partner differentiate on the whole AWS APN journey? APN stands for AWS Partner Network. So how do you differentiate yourself? APN is made, has more than 100,000 partners in the program. So how do you stand out? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the different benefits. You know what? Would make sense if I had the agenda on, right? We're going to talk about the benefits and we're going to talk about how do we get started here. Also, I actually started working with a partner here called KnackForge. We started the journey with them in 2021, 22, and since then we've been working with them, and they've been coming across the platform, building products, starting with services, differentiating, and now moving into building their own SaaS-based solution. So we're gonna see how they've done it. We're gonna have them present the demo, and James, in your true fashion, that you guys like to show the code and get down and dirty. While I do have some slides, KnackForge with their CloudCost demo will definitely get you down and dirty into the UI and what they're doing. Maybe a quick description about my role. I'm a senior partner management solution architect here at AWS. I work with our early stage partners to help them grow and scale their business and practice at large at APN with the AWS with the APN resources. So
So you were
please let me
there?
know. You can see the screen. All right. So before we get started on there, I mean, I'm good to start presenting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. I was just gonna make
Perfect.
a comment. So you were there with KnackForge since like the very beginning, like their whole time, huh?
Yeah, when they started their journey with us, they had just registered with the APN tier, and we'll talk about what this registration means. Then they moved up the ranks. They went from registration to select. From select, they went to advanced tier. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at how then they started uncovering their superpowers and build their differentiated capabilities. That's what we like to refer superpowers at AWS, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we can look at that. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let me first introduce APN to you. So AWS Partner Network APN is a global community of partners that leverages programs, expertise, resources to build, market, and sell customer offerings. As I mentioned, we got more than 100,000 plus partners that are part of the program. Um, our partners, if only I can create it. All right, yep. APN helps partner to deliver innovation for them, for their customers, extend their customer reach, help them sell and deliver to their new customers, existing customers, help them grow their revenue and skills, demonstrate their expertise and credibility, and helps them reward for performance. And as they go up the food chain, it unlocks additional tools and benefits for them through the program. Um, Partners are really key to AWS's growth. AWS being a data-driven company, we found that our deals close faster and we're a lot more successful in closing the deals with partners' help. They also help have access to the customer, the leadership, the C-suite, and they've got those relationships and they know how to navigate inside the end customers. So that's the reason why we work extensively with our partners. And also, we AWS solutions and services are only part of the bigger transformation. And what we've seen is that the partners actually complete that entire solution for our end customers. Now, our partnership program actually starts with multiple paths. Before I dive deep into the different paths, and let me just define what is a path. So a path is a prescribed best practice journey, steps and activities, mechanisms and benefits that the partner receives at each stage as they're building their AWS practice. Till a few years ago, we used to only have two paths, consulting and ISV. As you can see, based on the feedback from our partners, we have now got 5 distinct paths. I'm going to go one after the other. So software path is for our software partners to launch and sell their solutions on the AWS marketplace that runs on top of AWS. Hardware path is typically for our IoT partners. So we do vet their platform and their hardware for interoperability to make sure that the hardware, when it out in the field, will send the data to our conformed standards. Right. So that's where the hardware path comes in. We're going to talk a little bit more today about services path. This is where our consulting partners, our system integrators, our solution providers really set the services path where they build services, they execute services and SaaS on behalf of our customers to help deliver the innovation for our customers. Then there's a training path for our specialized partner that deliver training courses and enable the teams at large. And then a distribution path is for our partners to recruit, onboard, enable businesses to resell and develop AWS solutions at large. Now, a partner can choose multiple paths at the same time, but we do recommend that they start with one and then go for the additional, which is what we will discuss today later in the session when we talk about KnackForge.
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
I was just going to say, I made a comment that I'm most familiar with the software path in me and Neha's role. A lot of the validations we do are most of them come from that software path.
Yep.
And as you were saying, this based on feedback. We like to do things based on customer feedback. I think this started pretty much right after I joined AWS at the end of 2022, 2021. Right, like right before that is when you said there was only 2. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah, earlier it was only two paths, and then just like everything else at AWS and Amazon at large, we are driven by customer obsession. And in this instance, our customer happened to be the partner that gave us a feedback that hey, they have their own superpowers where maybe it makes more sense to add additional paths. And so, in true AWS and Amazonian fashion, we increase the program. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it.
Great. Great. So these are paths. Now let's talk about stages, shall we? So what happens is that the stages are they are like 5 key stages that a partner goes through, starting all the way from registered. This is when they will sign up on the AWS APN Central portal, sign up to become an AWS partner. As part of choosing the process, as part of registration, they also sign in through the APN T's and C's, the terms and conditions, and then they choose a path. We just spoke about what the paths were, right? One of the 5 paths. And then they have to pay an annual fee, a one-time annual fee for becoming confirmed into the program. It's the same fee. You choose one path or you choose all 5 paths. So it's just one annual fee towards the APN. And we'll talk about how that fee is paid itself off as a partner matures into the program. So at this point, they are confirmed by paying the fee, and then they start going down the validation route, which is what we'll be talking about pretty much here onwards, which is what do you say, how do we validate what the partner's claims are, how do we validate them, how do we measure their contribution, and how do we make sure that they raise the bar on how we would have delivered that same solution or services on behalf of our customer. And as the partner continues to invest, they start looking at the way they differentiate, and then they go and look at the different, explore the different superpowers that they deliver to the program. Now, we spoke about software path, which is where you mentioned, right, the FDR process, which is how a partner becomes validated, that they do the FDR process. Similarly, on the hardware side, they do the device qualification process, which we just announced. And then on the services path, this is when they go either become from registered, they go to select, advanced, and premier tier. By the way, I've got a detailed deck on what each of those tiers mean. Then there's a training path, and then distribution is a little bit more, fair and square when it comes to invitation only process. Yeah. So we saw the paths, we saw the stages. Now let's look at tiers, if you don't mind. So when a services partner starts or a software partner starts, they by default are at that registered tier, right? And then they pay the fee, they then become confirmed. And as the partner starts to deliver solutions and demonstrate how they're doing it on behalf of our partners, on behalf of our customers, they then go up the rank. And there are set gates from becoming a select tier partner to advanced and to premier tier partner. I'm not going to read through the slides, but the gates are based on the number of launch opportunities, which is how we categorize the work that they're doing, and the work gets qualified through our ACE portal. So we capture that requirement. We also capture how many folks are certified under there, and what is the run rate business that they create, that they influence for AWS. So that's when select becomes an advanced, and then they go to advanced tier. And you see this interesting number over there, which is called attainment promotional credit. Now, the APN fee, which I referred to earlier, is $2,500 every year, right? That's that one number that the partner pays to enroll across multiple paths. Now, when they become a select tier partner, they get $3,500 worth of AWS credit applied to their account. So really, the investment that they had made to join the program pays itself off the moment they start building that business and practice on AWS. And you can see that the goodness keeps getting better with advanced tier. That promo credit becomes $5,000. And when you're a premier tier partner, it's $10,000. Now, For software path, we have select and advance. Our premier tier partner is exclusively for our services partners. So that's where they work on strategic long-term engagements with customers, typically in the Fortune 100 side. Yeah. Any questions so far?
I was gonna say earlier when you mentioned the fee, I was like, ooh, he's mentioning a fee. Like I'm not gonna say anything. But then now that you mentioned that they get, you just get credits for it. You're basically, making $1,000 in credits on top, at least on top of it.
Yep.
So that's a thank you for bringing that up.
Sure. There are additional benefits that unlock, and we can do a lot more immersive session if you like, to just look at all the different benefits that they unlock, such as migration funding, such as different program-based funding. We also reward our partners for getting the solution architect and solution architect professional and the specialty certifications. So the more they invest in building that practice in that AWS skill set, the more benefits become available to them.
How many do you have? How many do you have in chat? How many certifications? Anyone have any certifications in chat? I have 5, I think. Yeah, 5.
That is cool. I just have 2.
2? That's okay.
Yeah.
You always start somewhere.
We got to start somewhere. That's right. Yeah. I have 4. All right. Moving on. All right. So, this is a question that keeps coming back to us. Why do we validate partner? What is in there, right? There are some other programs in the industry where, they always take the gold, silver, bronze kind of program, but we do hold partners to a higher standard. And the reason is customer obsession, right? So the most important, why we do this is we want to make sure that we reduce the risk associated with AWS for customers. We want our customers to make sure that the configurations that they deployed are secure. We're going to make sure that the partners are building and recommending resilient architecture for the workloads, and we also want to make sure that we help save time for the partner by making sure that the right partner with the right use cases is brought forward on behalf of our customers. So, and when they're faced with the choice to choose among the thousands of partners, they want to make sure that they are in good and safe hands of the AWS partners that we have vetted. So that's the reason why we validate and we vet our partners.
Yeah.
Now, good question.
Oh no, I was just going to say definitely, especially because if personal example, like if I'm looking for someone to contract out and redo my roof, how do I know it's not just some random person who doesn't know anything about it pretending to be a roofer, and then they take my $5,000 and disappear. And in the case of a lot of partner stuff, this is bigger workloads, bigger than that kind of thing. So definitely being able to say that we looked through their stuff, we vetted it out, we made sure that everything's fundamentally secure and complete, definitely gives that confidence that when you actually select one of our partners to work with or whatever, that that you're going to get what they say that they can do.
Yeah. Interesting fact, most of our customers, they get their AWS work done by the partners, right? Almost 90% of Fortune 100 and literally everybody from the Fortune 1000, they use partners. That's the reason why validating that partner ensures that we demonstrate that the partner can really stand the test of time and do the right thing by the customer. And the example that you said, I wholeheartedly agree. Sure. Yeah. Now, how do we do that validation, right? How do we do that validation? We do the validation in 3 big categories, or 3 big programs. One of them is the AWS Service Delivery Program. This is where we validate the partner for their depth on the product, right? So, for example, and I'll bring about the different services. So, can the partner deploy, say, for example, AWS Lambda with best practices in? Is it built for elasticity? Is it built for resiliency? Can it stand? Can it self heal? how does it take the monitoring out? So we want to make sure that this is where we validate that the partner has got hands-on knowledge in deploying production grade application. By the way, the validation is just not one case study that the partner has to submit. They have to submit two case studies. They can be internal case studies. I'm going to talk about that. Or they can be private case studies, not internal case studies. They can be private case studies, and we're going to look at what are the other factors that they need to capture, to make sure that when they do apply for the specialization, they've got all the right details identified. Then there is the competency program. Competency program is for partners that are advanced and premier tier. So select tier partners can do service delivery. Advanced and premier tier partner can do service delivery and competency. So our competency is for partners' depth in specialized workloads, specialized deployment of AWS technologies for industry-specific solutions such as financial services, education, healthcare, life science, and they are for specific use cases such as networking, DevOps, migration, right? And then the managed services partner are partners that manage the customer through the full life cycle, right? From designing to onboarding, building, deploying, running, optimizing the workload. That's when they actually work with the AWS customers to build long-term relationships. Now, if a partner is already working with a customer and they are already providing managed services to that customer, they can continue to do so. We're not saying that every partner that does that work on behalf of a customer has to validate against the managed service program, but some partners find that that's their niche, and then they go through that specialization route or differentiation route.
Hey, Rahul. Yeah. So I was just curious here. So AWS service delivery, is this for the software path partners or the services path partners, or for both?
Yes, so it is actually for both. We will talk about the software a little later, if you don't mind, right? Now, so just like how you have a service delivery designation, there's a separate path for software. So you mentioned the FDR process, right? That's the service validation path for the software vendors, right? Where we hold them to that same standard. Things like the well-architected partner framework, the well-architected framework, we make sure that all those security best practices, resiliency are all captured. So that's a separate path. But for software side, we are still looking at more for the delivery of the service for the services partners. Now, we have about 30 plus service offerings over here. As you know, AWS offers more than 200 plus products to millions of customers every month. What we've done is we've taken those essential services that the customers use, and we put those as a different designations that the partners typically validate on. Again, we hear the feedback from our partners, and so you saw Amazon EKS, which is our Kubernetes runtime environment, and Kubernetes services was added last year at AWS reInvent. Similarly, Control Tower was added. So these are typical staple services that you've seen are kind of like essential building blocks for building the AWS services. These are not the only ones; they are additional ones. But service delivery designation is extended to across 30 plus of these initiatives. We also have, we ranged the offerings for service validation from EC2 for Windows to different database engines to Amazon Connect that provides omni-channel customer experience management. So again, the depth and the breadth goes from different services. Yeah.
Yeah. Rahul, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite on this list?
Yeah. I mean, it's like saying, do I have a favorite kid? I like them all, but where I'm seeing a whole lot of transformation happen is in that serverless computing side, right? That's where I'm also seeing a lot of the transformation, right? What used to be an online virtual machine form factor became EC2, which was good for back, a few years ago. But where we're seeing now is, and that's where, our strategy is also going event-driven, as you might have heard from Werner Vogel, right? Everything is going event-driven architecture, everything is going serverless. So I really like when the partners help customers transform with AWS Lambda, because now you're using serverless architecture for doing step functions to deliver an outcome. So I really like Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB, and EKS. Now again, that's my preference. I have my colleagues who love all the IoT solutions. So again, my preference is serverless.
Yeah,
We have
I have a
one.
friend who really likes Connect, and I actually picked up a Connect service delivery validation. She's going to help me with.
Yeah.
We're going to work tag team it.
Yeah, I can actually talk about what goes in that validation process if you want, a little later.
Yeah.
Sure. So that's the service delivery designation. Again, select plus partners, do that. Now we look at the competency program. So competency program, as I said, is managed in three big buckets, right? Either through competency by industry, use case, or workloads. This is where a very good example would be, say, for example, healthcare. You want to do the validation for healthcare. Well, we may want to make sure that it is a deep domain driven design patterns that you're helping the customers transform with. Imagine if you were doing, say for example, a big healthcare customer, you are helping them migrate from on-prem to AWS. That is not going to categorize as an industry competency. But if you help them, launch a new solution to do, the customer research, customer management, right? All those are that industry-driven use cases is where the expertise will be validated. It's not, can I help a healthcare customer go from on-prem to cloud or in a hybrid construct, right? So just being very specific, this is where we want to validate the customers for the partners for their deep domain expertise. Then there are the use cases. So that use case which I talked about, which is, hey, I help a customer from on-prem to cloud. Well, that's a very good use case for migration competency, right? Now, then similarly, we have workload specific, competency, and some of the biggest workloads out there like SAP, Oracle, Microsoft workloads do qualify for that big workload competency. Yeah.
Competencies. Those are like the big ones, like, right?
Yeah.
Like what is the process? We have to do a demo. We have to have like 5 case studies, all sorts of
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just coming to that. Next
Okay.
slide. Thank you
Getting
very
ahead
much.
of you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see that our thoughts are aligned. So we spoke about that service delivery partners and the competency partners, right? So as I said, anybody who's select and above can go for service delivery. Competency partners is for our advanced and premier tier partners for services and software. So in this instance, what we would want the partner to provide is for service delivery, they need to provide 2 case studies. They could be public or private case studies. These case studies cannot be their own internal deployment or dev test workloads. They have to be work done on behalf of our customers. Now, some customers may not, allow the partner, or these are some very early stage partners that are just building their that are just building their practice. So the customer may not allow them to become a publicly referenceable. So that's fine. That's the reason why we ask for private or public case studies. So we want 2 case studies there. We also want to make sure that the partner launches the offering on the portal, the Partner Central portal. We'll send the links to the team around what is the URL for the portal, and then they need to provide the questions that we ask of them in a validation checklist. Similarly, for competency partners, they also need to provide the checklist. They also launch their offerings in Partner Central, and then they have to provide 4 case studies, of which 2 must be public. But then based on competency to competency, some competencies say, well, we need 2 public are a must. Some competency says 1 is fine. And a competency like security will say that's fine. If you do not have a publicly referenceable customer, you can offset it with private competencies or private case studies, right? Now, in some instance, we will also ask our partners that if you do not have a publicly referenceable case study, provide 2 private case studies. So that's how we want to make sure that we do the validation for them for the work that they've done on their behalf. So that's where I would say competency is definitely for that's the reason why it's for advanced tier partners, because we understand there's also that maturity cycle that goes into the partner's AWS practice. And also there's another requirement that the workload that we are nominating for those competency applications is at least $100,000 in annual run rate. So these are workloads that they just have to. They are not small projects, but they are big strategic engagements that we have delivered on behalf of our customers. Right. My favorite part, which
I was going
is
to say, this is the
benefits.
best part, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to present is not the comprehensive list, but it's just like a very quick synopsis on what the different benefits are. So to reward our partners for all the hard work that they're doing to document the details, bring them together, write case studies, as they are differentiating within the and validating their credentials with us. We give them the recognition, so they actually get a listing on our website. They also get a badge for achieving the service delivery program or a competency on achieving a competency, and they can also be found in a partner solution finder portal, right? And the higher you rank, the more badges you have, the more competencies you have, it increases your ranking, right? So it's actually one of those programs that celebrates partners' success. Now, we also provide the partners with some expert engagements and early day access to programs like Game Day,
Game
Deep
day.
Learning Series. We provide them with a financial incentive of about $5,000 for every SDP in MDF cash, and I'll talk about MDF cash. What does it mean? And then $10,000 for every competency that they acquire. MDF stands for Marketing Development Fund, which so the funds could be utilized to help market a partner's services, all the offerings that they build. They would want to market it to their prescriptive customers, and that's where the funds could be redirected. We also have additional financial incentives for our partners that are helping the customers make that move from on-prem to cloud or transition from other cloud providers to AWS through a specialized program called Migration Acceleration Program, or MAP funding, which is one of the most generous programs I've seen in the industry that will help the customers uh, lower their initial run rate cost, makes that entry into cloud a lot more palatable for their workload. And obviously, based on the tiers, additional benefits to become available, such as AWS supported webcasts. So I have presented on multiple partner webcasts, private strategy session, go to market, quarterly business review, and a whole lot of other programs become available. So we actually have dedicated sessions that we can talk about just benefits alone, but I thought, let me just bubble up some of the high level benefits that partner typically gets to enjoy as they grow their AWS practice.
Yeah, you bubbled up my favorite one, Game Day. That's my
Sure.
favorite, at least as an employee. We actually do a show. I do a show with our sister station, AWS on Air. It's called Step Up Your Game Day, and we actually
Mhm.
we do playthroughs of different quests. It's a ton of fun. Anyone watching, I highly recommend trying to talk to your bosses and seeing about getting game days if you're a partner already.
Yeah, so there are, just talking about that game day. So there are two programs that are like that. One is one called Immersion Day. Immersion Day is for our partners who are like level 100, 200, 300. So it actually provides you with a scenario, and then it gives you the notes, right? So you say, all right, now you follow these notes. Typically, an AWS solution architect or a partner runs an Immersion Day. And then, it's actually a great tool to earn customer trust, dive deep, and also help remove those deals that are stuck because the customer wants that warm and fuzzy to really go and access the platform. We've got about 100 plus immersion days which are already organized. So work with your partner solution architect or your PDR to get access to immersion days. Uh, in immersion day, you provide the notes and then you kind of do it, build it yourself. but then there is a game day, which is where the competition heats up, which is the one that you were referring to, where you're given a task. They give you no notes, right? And you now need to work on a task. And typically, it gets a lot more interesting when we bring a few partners in, or bring a few customers in, or bring a few different teams in to solve, say, for example, imagine you are a .com, right? You now have a lot of requests coming in. How do you scale out a platform? How do you do auto scaling groups? So it is for game days for our partners who understand that level 400 knowledge and can really go and get on that competitive gaming spirit. It's a gamification of the different labs that you do on AWS. So I highly, highly, highly recommend partners to work with their teams inside AWS to get a game day nomination. Or if you're just starting, immersion days are good.
Yeah, I've helped deliver some immersion days as well. Those are good too. Not exactly as fun for me, but those are definitely good learning experiences as well,
Yeah.
for sure.
So our partners use it, as I said, right, for enabling and for accelerating those deals and opportunities, diving deep, earning customer trust with the customers. But then some of our partners actually run it internally to help cross-train their teams. I'm actually running one in a few weeks. I'll send you the invite if you're up for running an immersion day with me.
Sure. Yeah. Just throw it. We'll see if it's on. Look at the schedule and then throw it on my calendar. Sure thing.
Sounds good.
Shout out to AM Grob in the chat there. He's he's my step up your game day partner. He's watching right now.
That's great. Thank you. So let's talk about how do we get started. And I see the time. We are about 45 minutes in. So I think I'm doing very well for time, giving my friends at KnackForge, some time to present their slides also. So how do we get started? Well, the first step is we want you to go and register on the APN portal. So we want you to go ahead, start applying, pay the fee, build your capabilities, start validating, differentiating. But then, you're not alone in this journey. Use the AWS resources like your, partner development manager, partner management solution architect, like ones we are, to help you, find your differentiators, build your superpowers. You do use AWS Partner Central for all interactions with AWS at large, and then you also pass a technical validation and then get the designations. I'm also running a series on every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, where I work with your team at large there, James, to look at a designation and say, all right, how does a partner get a designation? So I have been running it since February this year. We go all the way till the end of May. So the May series that I'm doing, we're going to talk about the SDP application for Lambda, for EKS. We're going to look at well-architected partner program as one of the other programs, DevOps competency. Yeah, it's where hundreds of partners join that event to learn how do they start differentiating, because we understand it takes. This is your atypical program where we want to make sure that you guys are vetted, are validated, only to make sure that you guys can earn customer trust and show the obsession. We also have a few links here that we will share as part of the presentation. I'm not sure if Jenna has been sharing them, but we can also share them as part of once I go off the camera, I can paste some of those links. So that brings me to the interesting part of the presentation, to introduce you to KnackForge and a product that they built with CloudCost. So as I mentioned, I started working with KnackForge in 2022. They were just getting started on their AWS journey, and I'll let Rajarajan, the alliance manager and the director of AWS solutions from KnackForge, come in and present. They actually started with us on the services path. They found their strengths. They are actually pretty good at delivering solutions on behalf of our customers on serverless as one of those. But then I'll let Raj talk about the kind of work that they do. So they started there. They found their rhythm. They differentiated themselves by going through SDP application and successfully clearing it for API gateway and Lambda. And when I was talking with them late last year, this is just about a month before reInvent, we were talking about, hey, if you are in the process of delivering innovation that is sure services led, but then if you're also looking at software deliver based innovation, we recommend you also to join our software path. They did that, and then I helped the team here to prepare their FTR process. Neha actually reviewed the FTR for KnackForge, so we made sure that the application was smooth. It went without a hitch and a whole lot of feedback because we did a whole lot of due diligence with KnackForge team. They take the feedback and they made sure that the application was good. Once the application was done, I think I'll let Raj talk about. I think they were at reInvent when they got their FTR done, and now they are going to talk about their journey from here on and the next steps. So before I switch it over to Raj, do you have any questions for me? Or I can stop sharing my screen. But
No, my only question is, did you say that Neha is the one that approved their FTR? So
yeah, Neha, do you want to talk about
yeah,
Yes.
that
how was that?
process?
How did that go?
Yeah, they had a pretty good application, I would say. I just had some questions, and I believe we would be going through that in their demo or how they are using cross-account roles, which is a huge security thing. So we'll be going through that while they are demoing their solution. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, Rahul, for coming on and doing your
Sure.
presentation, taking us to school, as the kids say, I guess. Um, and have a great day. I'm going to bring everyone from KnackForge on.
Yes, please.
Here we are. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Raj. Hello, Vamsee. How are you
Hey
guys
man,
doing today?
we are good. How are you guys? Hey
Good.
Neha.
Good.
Hi, doing good.
I'm glad you stuck with us for that first bit there. I know
I
you
Yeah,
were
it
learned
doing a
so
was.
little bit.
much.
Did you? Good. I
Yeah.
did too. I mean, I needed that for sure. Absolutely. If you're just tuning into Howdy Partner, right, or if you're just tuning in the show right now, this is Howdy Partner. It's our weekly Twitch show we do at AWS where we bring partners on to show off what they've built on the AWS platform in the cloud, helping you make your life easier. We go beyond the diagrams, beyond the white papers, beyond the marketing copy, and we actually get to see things in action. And with us today are our friends at KnackForge, our partners, Andrew, Raj, and Vamsee. Maybe we can just go down the list real quick. Andrew, what do you do? Who are you and what do you do?
Hey, I'm Andrew. I'm a customer experience lead at KnackForge. I get to interface with our technical teams and our customers every day on different projects and just help translate the text, speak, and what the clients want and make sure those two paths work well.
Nice. Yeah, that's getting business requirements to technical requirements. I understand that totally. Vamsee, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm Vamsee. I'm doing good. So, I'm a part of this CloudCost team, which we are going to show a demo in another few minutes. So, I play a role of a technical architect, guiding the team to implement the best practices.
Awesome. And Raj, last but of course the best.
I lead I'm Rajarajan Ravi. I lead the business development efforts for KnackForge, and I've been the alliance lead for this Amazon partnership for last 2 years, and I've been working closely with Rahul, Neha, Haley, and there were a lot of push and pulls. We did a lot of STPs. We did programs together. It was an amazing journey with all these guys. And more than partnership, I would say it's a very good friendship built between us, and it's getting us chilled towards a win-win relationship, and gets us through along.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of the partners I've worked with, like that I've met and I've worked with I've actually, they've been great people. So it's not just a business thing. Like
Yeah.
personally, I've enjoyed 99.9, what is it, 11 nines of the people I've worked with. Um,
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm not going to steal too much of your thunder. Who are we going to start with? Are we starting with Andrew?
Yeah, I'll kind of talk about the history of KnackForge and where we're at and where we're going. So today we'll talk about CloudCost, and Rajan and Vamsee will talk more about that. But just a brief overview of KnackForge. Main thing is we are culture driven. We take an emphasis on taking care of our employees. We've got about 170 of them, and we believe that as we take care of our employees take care of our customers. So that's a big ethos of what we do. And so we have a headquarters here in Tyler, Texas, where I'm at, and then a DevOps center in Chennai, India, where Vamsee and Rajan and a bunch of our guys are at. We have 11 years of experience in cloud implementation. We have partnerships with AWS, Microsoft, Databricks, and our clients, and I think our employees love us. You can see that with our ratings. So everyone's giving us good ratings, so it means we must be doing something right.
Wait, sorry, Andrew. Did you say that they're Vamsee and Raj? You guys are in India right now. You're staying up late for this?
Yeah, it's
Oh my
a
gosh.
pretty early morning for us. It's a pretty early good morning for us.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Thank you. I didn't even realize. It's great. Thank for making that sacrifice. Thank you.
No problem. We are enjoying that.
Yeah, they're awesome. They do a lot for us. So here are some various things we do at KnackForge. So software product strategy, we collaborate with our clients. We learn and we understand what they need, the vision for their products, and then we observe and we orient ourselves with that competitive landscape inside their area, and then we decide with the customer the best strategy for their product, and then we act on that plan. With product architecture, development, and security, we have a solution architects, cloud architects, product managers, developers, testers, and together we provide a comprehensive product development, maintenance, and security compliance. We've got design and user experience. So we have some amazingly creative UI and UX designers that give every product that magic touch that just makes you want to use the product, and you'll see that more in the CloudCost demo. With data ops, we've been in the data ops world since the very beginning. We have proven expertise in data migration, data engineering, and data analytics. With FinOps, with our cloud experts on staff and our CloudCost tool that we have developed here in-house, we get to work with our clients to optimize their operational expenses so that they can apply their finances to the things that matter. And then we also have an enterprise operations center, specialists that monitor our cloud applications and infrastructure 24/7, 365, and provide real-time resolution to any incidents so you can rest easy, knowing your applications are always working even when you're not. So quick overview of KnackForge and AWS. So since 2011, we've executed multiple projects within AWS. And then in 2018, 40% of our developers have received a AWS certification. In 2021, KnackForge became an AWS Select Tier Partner. In 2022, we also became an AWS Advanced Tier and Public Sector Partner. And our strategy moving forward is to become an AWS MSP and DevOps Competency Partner. So kind of what Rahul was talking about earlier, we're on those paths, multiple of them.
Nice. Yeah, that hyper growth is huge. Like from 2018 to that's only 4.5 years, really. That's huge.
Mm-hmm. We're doing a lot. Yeah. So on the left, you can see a list of our current certification badges that our members of our team proudly hold. You guys were bragging about all your certs. I'm a cloud practitioner, and I have been diligently working on a SysOps admin cert. So I've got a bunch of test and practice tests. I'm taking that soon. So working on getting up to 2. And so we've got a lot of other certifications in our team. And then on the right, you can see some of the milestones we've achieved with the APN. We're on both the services and the software path, like Rahul was mentioning, that people can go on multiple paths. And then we, as of last year, we are an advanced tier partner and a public sector partner. So that's awesome. We get to do a lot of cool new things. And then we're also getting really good at serverless. So we're validated for API gateway and Lambda service delivery. We've been validated on FTR. Thank you, Neha. Really appreciate that.
For sure.
And we have services in the AWS marketplace, and really, in our opinion, there's way too much extra space on this slide, so we got to get even more certs, even more milestones.
Did you know? If you get all the certs, you get a gold jacket. I've heard. It's one of our teams that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get everyone gold jacketed this year.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Okay, well, I'll give it over to Rajan to talk about KnackForge and FinOps.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew. So KnackForge and FinOps. So FinOps is one of our key strengths. And hey, AWS friends, by the way, please don't get offended here. We are trying to be as creative as possible to bring down the AWS bills for the people. So don't get offended. So to start with, emergence of cloud computing. So we all know about the last two decades of cloud disruption, just like how ChatGPT is doing right now, right? So these are the basic stats about the cloud disruption. So you can also call it as cloud adoption. And I'm pretty sure that you AWS guys would know that very well. And almost like all the enterprises use cloud, and almost half of the businesses use cloud for secure storage right now. And by 2025, we forecast that cloud market value is going to be $832 billion with 100 zettabytes of data in it. So this is the amount and volume of the cloud adoption which has happened during the last 2 decades, and it's very disruptive. Next slide, please, Andrew. So cloud adoption, when you say cloud adoption, it's no longer optional. So as teams migrate more and more to the cloud, the two components are getting overlooked. So those two components are basically cost optimization and security. So around these two components, there are main factors which revolve around, which really obstruct the efficient cloud usage. So the first thing, inefficient use of resources, which can be using incorrect sizes and capacities of services or using redundant services. So when it comes to complexity in understanding costs, just imagine enterprise, they would have multiple accounts and spending happens in a decentralized manner. So there's a complexity there in understanding the cost. Moving on to security vulnerabilities, we all understand the level of threats and vulnerabilities which comes into the infrastructure. And moving on to the limited visibility. So having easily consumable insights about the usage and forecasting is quite a bit challenge still in using cloud. So these are the four major factors which are affecting the efficient cloud usage. So let's move on. Yeah, next slide, please. So to overcome the before said challenges, right? Like we have built the CloudCost to manage expenses and enhance the business performance. So CloudCost can provide resource level cost optimization recommendations. It can identify vulnerabilities to provide security recommendations. CloudCost has a feature to forecast cost at different LODs. And coming to enhance visibility. So idea of it is to provide a greater understanding to even a non-technical or a C-suite person. And for them, we have a single dashboard to show data at different LODs, and we do have scheduled weekly reports, or it can be scheduled at any time, right? At any frequency. And the last but the best, right? The empirical scoring. So it's through our internal algorithm and the secret sauce. CloudCost provides empirical scores for the cost and security efficiencies. So higher the better. So that's the algorithm we have built internally. And all these are being built upon AWS well-architected principles, read-only APIs, and as Neha said, through the AWS FTR validation. So all these are validated through FTR, and Neha has certified us that we have followed all the well architected principles, and I appreciate her for that. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a small pause for this presentation, and I'm just giving it to Vamsee to run the demo, and then I will come back to the presentation here. Over to you,
Sure.
Vamsee.
Yeah. I just wanted to say you
Thank
don't
you,
have to
Raj.
worry about reducing costs because Neha, that's one of the pillars, right? Cost optimization, I believe.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, that's
And
correct.
efficiency, what is it? Performance efficiency and sustainability. So that's three of the pillars. So even though you're reducing costs, I mean that's actually part of what we want to do. So that works perfect.
Super.
Nothing bad here.
So nothing to get offended there. Super.
Yeah. Yeah. Bombs, are you ready for me to put your
Yeah,
stuff on? Okay,
yeah.
let's do it.
So we are at the landing page of the CloudCost, which gives the insights and the features what the CloudCost does. Let me log into the application to start the demo. So for the demo, what I did is I just used the existing account in which we already mapped the AWS account. But in the later part of the demo, I'll show how to add an AWS account to our CloudCost tool to get more insights on the CloudCost features. So, yeah. So we are at the dashboard of the page. So this is a dashboard which gives you the simplified view of the AWS cost with the recommendations and the pricing in a different level of details. And let's start with the top section where we segregated into three KPIs. The first would be the last month cost, aggregated cost for the account KF1. And the second KPI would be the forecasted cost, aggregated forecasted for this KF1 account for this month. And this is the potential saving, which is a key feature which we are providing. So if we apply the recommendation, the CloudCost provides, we could potentially save $5,924. And moving on to the next section, which, as Rajan said, as the custom algorithm which we implemented to come up with the empirical scores. So we had our own algorithm to arrive the scores for the cost and for the security. For the cost, if you take this account has been optimized for 94%, and on a security level, this account is just 45% secured. So there are a lot more security restrictions has to be happen to make this come to an excellent zone. And coming to the next section, which is where what we did is we just to make it more easily understand to a CXO level persons, where we we group the services into multiple categories, where on the compute we group the services like EC2, Lambda, ELB kind of things, and on the storage level services we grouped EBS, S3, Glacier kind of services. And on the database and cache, what we did is we just grouped the services like RDS, serverless RDS, DynamoDB, DocumentDB, Elastic Cache, Redis Server. And on the DevOps and analytics, the services which are related to DevOps, which include code pipeline, code commit, code deploy kind of services. And on network and data transfer, that's the services related to the CloudFront, Route 53, VPC. Though we group the network and data transfer kind of services into a single category, and we create an aggregated price for the specific category. For example, on the compute, the aggregated price for the compute services for the last month is $13,627, and on the compute level alone, we could save $2,205. And especially for the storage, we could save this much, and on the potential saving, we could go to $53. So let me get into the detail page here. So if I go to a detailed view of the compute, this is the page where we show a detailed view of the compute level storages, which includes the last 12 months of the data. And here also we are following the same 3 KPIs, the last month cost for this compute service alone. And here is the monthly forecasted cost for the compute service and the potential saving. And here is the beautiful feature which we are representing a detailed breakdown of the recommendation. So here, these are the 2 recommendations our algorithm provides. The first would be there is an EC2 instance which is costing us $2,169, where we could, based on the analyzing its usage, it predicts that we can either resize the instance, or if you're not using it, we could stop the instance, which could save us $2,000. So if we click, it will again provide one level of deeper recommendations where we can use any one of the instance based on our business case, which might have this the different monthly savings. So coming on to the next recommendation on the compute is the load balancer. There are load balancers which are idle based on its usage. We could ideally save $36, and if it's not been idle, this might be the reason why it is showing as a recommendation. It might be because it might not have been configured properly, the health might not have been configured properly. So based on this recommendation action plan, either if we delete, we could save the recommendation. Let me get into the next section, which is the storage.
Hey, quick question. Yeah. So like just looking at this, from for a non-technical leader that is trying to look at, hey, times are tough, we all need to save cost, and conserve the spend. It looks like that is like live data that you're fetching for what is consumed in the AWS. Is that right? So maybe like did I get that right? So that's live data.
It's a live data which gets updated every hour.
Okay.
So we are fetching it every hour and getting the data updated, and we are planning to make that value as a configurable value so that you could set the time limit, the customer could set the time limit and get the data based on a real-time basis.
Right. And then can you how do you do it, like by multiple projects? Because typically projects will have their own accounts or they have their own P&L. How would we do that?
So what we did is we just use we are mapping the AWS. So each credentials we can have a multiple AWS accounts maps to it, which I'll come to the later part of the account.
Sure.
So what we are doing is we create a different storage for each accounts and each user in a segregated way, and which follows the AWS standards of encryption so that the data won't get exposed or decrypted easily. So it was segregated in a way that the data won't be mismatched, and we have our own algorithm placed at the top of it. So we'll take a data from a trusted advisor, and we also have our own algorithm. So we merge both together and we'll give these recommendations out.
Thank you.
I love that the recommendations are very prescriptive, and they actually give you links to some documentation to help it out. They don't just say, hey, do this, and you're like, I don't know which EC2 you want me to change, and I don't know how to do it. Like, it'll tell you it's like this one with this ID is doing the XYZ, and you can change it to this, and here's how you can do it. So
and the algorithm, we keep working on the algorithm to remove the false positives, reading the historical usage of the usage of the resources. We will tweak the algorithm to make it more to reduce the false positives. And so I'll move to the next section, which is a storage. So on the storage, it also follows the same thing where we provide last 12 months historical data in a graph format and in a tabular format. In this account, the storage, we just have only the S3 account, so it just shows the last 6 months, and you could download it. And if you go to recommendations, it's just the EBS. EBS, which is either we could resize the volume, because these are the instances which never been used. We just kept it idle for the testing purpose, whether it's showing or not, and which are never been used. So we could delete this, and on the elastic cache reservation, right? So these are the caches which are low usage, which are used very lowly. So based on this recommendation, we could delete those instances, or we could reserve the instances which could save more plan. The reservations plans also been listed in a detailed manner so that it would be easy to understand.
Hey, Vamsee, we got a question in the chat real quick. How does this work at the organization scope where resources are shared via RAM, resource access management, from Ashish?
So, on the organization level, we are working on to address those issues. Right now, our CloudCost is not handling the organization account, but that's the feature which we are working on a product as a backlog thing. So in the next release, we are expecting to handle the exact feature which the user is asking. How we are going to handle that organization feature, since the RAM is going to be shared, right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And later, I'm sure you're going to show us a little bit about how you can add more accounts to your cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So this demo on the database, it also goes the same level. These are the services: the time stream, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, RDS, and the Redshift. And on the detailed breakup, these are the services, the relational database services, which is so right now we are using an on-demand instance, but the usage, we are using the same instance for last 1 year. So based on the usage, this predicts that we could reserve the instance, which could save more amount rather than using it on demand, because we have been using it for a year. The algorithm predicted it as we can use it for 1 more year or 3 more years. So that's the recommendation it is providing. And an instance which is idle, so the recommendation would be to either resize if it's not being used, not being much used, or terminate this if it is not being used. And moving on to the next section, which is the network and data transfers.
How do you provide an exception process? So for example, if that workload cannot be reduced, how do you provide an exception process so you do not get flagged again and again?
Yeah, that's where I said the false positives, right? We are fine-tuning the algorithm and reading the historical usages. Right now, we just consider whether it's used or not. We are planning to analyze it and see how often it's being used, the utilizations of the resources, and the algorithm will remove those false positives in the upcoming releases in coming weeks. And on the data transfers, the services or the gateway, CloudFront, Global Accelerator, Route 53, and the VPC. So it's more of a services which are a managed thing. So that I don't think there's nothing much to save here. So it just predicts it as provide the recommendation as $0. And these are the menu where we can just use this menu and go to a detailed breakup page of the compute, storage, and the database. So this is a page which gives all the building in a different level of detail in an aggregated manner. On the right side section, right, we are showing the top 3 security alerts. So I just missed this, the left section, which is a security tab. So this CloudCost tool, not just providing the cost recommendation, we go one step further and we are analyzing the security vulnerabilities in the entire AWS account and giving the recommendations and the security recommendation which needs to be fixed. So if we go here, we just split it into 2 things, vulnerabilities and the warnings. So the first would be the AWS Lambda function, which uses the deprecated runtime. So if the runtime is not supported, maybe it might be considered as we need to update it because of security reasons. We will list the list of lambdas which is using the older runtime. So these are the lambda which are using the deprecated runtime of Python 2.7, which needs to be upgraded. And the next recommendation would be a very serious thing, which is IAM key rotation. So these are the IAM users who haven't rotated their keys in more than 90 days. So we are listing those users which needs to be rotated. And the security groups, these are the security groups which this port is open for everyone. And the similar recommendations on the security group with the specific ports and the VPC level of security groups. And on the warnings, if we go, we list the S3 bucket permissions. So these are the permissions which as public ACL enabled, maybe that's not needed in every cases. So if that doesn't really need it, then we can consider this recommendation and make it more secure. And the VPC flow log should be enabled as per the standard which AWS principles are saying. So the VPC flow log should be enabled in all VPCs. So what we ideally did is we just took the AWS standard principles, the security principles for the each services, and we arrived on these recommendations. And we also added the trusted advisor recommendations to it, and we just played together.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope this isn't a production account. Holy smokes. How many users need to rotate their keys and et cetera, et cetera?
Because this is an account, we just kept it for a demo, which without applying anything. So we are,
Yeah, and so it's part of this. So it uses CloudWatch a little bit to get some of your metrics. It uses Trusted Advisor, and then, like you said, it adds the KnackForge secret sauce to analyze all that. And awesome, love it.
Yep. And coming back to the dashboards, I said this is the page where we can have all the informations in a single page. In the right section, we show the top 3 security alerts and the top 5 savings, which is sorted based on the price. So RDS, EC2, which is the second highest saving where we could save, and again RDS, a different instance, and the Elastic Cache, and then EC2. So this is on the dashboard where we show the simplified view. So another feature with the CloudCost, what we have is we are just focusing only on a single AWS account. Right now, we provide a feature to have multiple AWS account under a single hood. So for that, we just need to go to account and click add account, where what user needs to do is they just need to create a cross account IAM role. So the cross account IAM role is this is the AWS recommended way of authenticating a customer account with a third-party account. So we just follow the same process, and they just need to give the read-only access for reading their the CloudWatch kind of data, and the support access to get the billing data. And for the security reasons, I'm not opening up my AWS console and showing the ARN, but we have a video link on how to create an role ARN and map it here. So I'll share the video link in the chat box. And once we add the cross-account role name for our internal purpose and the role ARN with which is created on the AWS console, clicking on the finish will just add an account, and it will just be listed here, and we can just switch between the AWS account to have the different insights of multiple AWS accounts under a single hood.
Hey, Vamsee, while that loads, where does my favorite services, the serverless, come? Will they come under compute?
Yes, it will come under the compute. The Lambda.
Yep. Lambda API
Lambda
gateway.
come under the compute, and the API gateway will come under the network and data transfer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, these categories will keep increasing. So we took the most widely used services in the application and web development, and we added those services to the category. On the consecutive releases, these compute categories will have more services, and we provide recommendations and the forecasted cost for all the services.
Will this also handle the EC2 instance types? Like we got the Infron servers, we got the learning instances, we got different workload type instances now. Is it going to handle that?
Yeah. So if you see here, we added a tag. So this filter will get extended to satisfy the feature where we could have read those instances based on we could just filter those types here, and we could just handle that.
Okay, so this corresponds the tabs inside AWS console.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
Hey, Vamsee, we got another question from the chat. Ashish was wondering, he was originally wondering if the data leaves how CloudCost gets your metrics and such, and we answered that with the cross account roles. He's wondering about the persistence and processing of the data that CloudCost is getting. Is there any storage happening? And if so, what's the time to live and deletion on that?
So yeah, we are storing the data with all the FTR processes followed because we are not breaching those security issues. We are storing the data, and the time to expire is 24 hours. We are just keeping the data for 24 hours, and we are clearing it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's it's partner hosted. You're hosting that storage, and since as part of that partner program, we know we've gone through all your architecture. We know it's good to go.
Yep.
FTR for the win. Yeah.
Yep, yeah. The multiple accounts, the features which we are planning in upcoming weeks, or having the organization structure. Some user asked about the organization structure under a single hood, where we can just have the organization structure which can map everything, and figuring out the RAM sharing. And we also planning to send the weekly newsletters to them, and increasing this algorithm and bringing one layer down on the security, where categorizing the security on application level, on a network level, and on a cloud level. So we just categorized on the level of security, the recommendations. So if it is an IAM level, it might go under a network layer, right? So we are planning to categorize it and asking the user to fix it from here. Those are the issues. If it is a easy fix and it doesn't affect the production workload, we will allow the CXOs can make those changes. Those are under discussion, which we might get released in the upcoming weeks. Yeah. So that's it from my side on the demo. Any questions?
I think we fielded all the ones that were coming in as they came in. Neha, did you have anything you wanted to ask or talk about?
I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that for other partners who are using this dashboard, it makes the FTR process very easy for both the PSA and the partner, right? Because you get all the security recommendations and you get cost optimization. So this is really cool.
Yeah, love it. I love how easy and straightforward it is for everything.
Agreed.
Cool.
Yep. If I'm done with the demo, I'll give it back to Rajarajan to continue with this presentation.
Okay, cool. Andrew, did you want me to show your screen, your slides? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. So thanks, Vamsee. That was a great demo. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So coming back to my presentation, the conventional PPD. So in this slide, I would like to talk a little about what KnackForge can do along with CloudCost for client success. So as you know, right, like KF is an advanced tier AWS partner with in-house diverse AWS certified specialists who can really architect, restructure, and develop solutions to implement best FinOps services. And along with this, we have Enterprise Operations Center with cloud specialists who can monitor the incidents, vulnerabilities, and infrastructures 24/7 and jump to resolve issues on a real-time basis. So this is the magic puzzle, as you can see on the screen. So magic puzzle works well for the client success. So that's the story behind it. So shall we move on to the next slide, please? So we have three different pricing bundles here. So the first option, comes with the features of CloudCost. So all the CloudCost tool, so comes with the first price bundle. And second option, it comes with tools plus the human expertise of architecture and engineering for 20 hours a month, and also with the weekly reviews. So basically what we do in the second option is we tie up the recommendation to the tasks, which will be taken care by the AWS experts in-house. And in the third option, we have additionally the 24/7 monitoring plus execution on the recommendation. So it's like tool plus human expertise, and the third one is tool plus human expertise plus the eyes on glass. So these are the 3 different pricing bundles we have arrived upon. And yeah, this is what. Shall we move on to the next slide, please? So since we are doing a very good event here, so we are just planned to give a free access to our version of the tool for 1 month. So I would like all you guys try the tool and provide your valuable feedbacks for us on this. And thanks a lot for your time today and spending with us about the CloudCost in KnackForge. It was totally a great event for us. And you can imagine me sitting 4 a.m. in the morning and doing all these presentations because I love it. I love AWS and I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, thanks a lot, viewers, AWS friends, for organizing this.
Yeah, no, thank you. It didn't even cross my mind. I usually start the show with, where are you at? Where are you based? And I didn't even we had our dry run the other day. I didn't even pop into my head that that's awesome. I thank you guys so much for coming on, everybody. So I just wanted to point out, we do have a survey. I dropped it into the chat. Please fill out our survey. It's got a banner down there. Well, I didn't put the banner, but please let us know how we did, how you enjoyed the show, what you want to see more of. If you have a partner you want to see on the show, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm also on Instagram, Forward on Instagram. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with KnackForge on LinkedIn. Raj, is there anything you'd like to plug? I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah, we are all good. I think we have already plugged in a lot of things.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
All right. How about Rahul or Neha? Anything you'd like to point out or close out with?
I would ask our viewers to use the 30-day free trial KnackForge is providing. For sure, this is a great chance to use the platform. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
and
it's free, it's free.
Yeah, I've seen actually, KnackForge actually also demonstrate that same customer obsession. So let's capitalize on it. Let's get the demo going. Let's give them the feedback. Um, you know, in the whole spirit of that design partnership, Vamsee's already got pretty good backlog of the feedback that we heard here from our spectators. So definitely let's get that feedback in to make sure that the tool goes out and solves a lot of customer problems. In fact, in this day and age, saving money, I think, should be the highest priority items. And we're seeing, Raj, a lot of our customers and a lot of AWS, team members also help customers to save money. So, one of our leadership principles is be frugal, because that's when you become more innovative. That's when you can be more creative. And so let's work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'm going to drop in the KnackForge LinkedIn real quick, and then we can close out. We have one more quick question. Rahul, it's probably for you. Any benefits for AWS Activate startups? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. So this, I think, Ashish, the question is related to KnackForge or CloudCost and the AWS Activate, right? So unfortunately not, but you can obviously start with that 30-day trial, see what other kind of outcomes you're seeing by working with Raj and the KnackForge team at large. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Please tune in next week. We are going to have Good Chemistry. They're going to teach us how their AI/ML models are being used to revolutionize material science. So that's cool. It's interesting. We got an interesting use case. And so from everyone here at Howdy Partner, thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Have a good day, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.